Hey everybody, welcome back to Texas 911 Dispatcher. My name is Curtis, and today we're going to be talking about ear to hand coordination. So, basically, what that is, just in a nutshell, is basically the ability to transpose what you're hearing over the radio or over the phone into a computer, a CAD system, or whatever it is that you use, even a piece of paper. It's still basically ear to hand coordination. So, a lot of times this is probably one of the biggest things that people have problems with when they become a 911 dispatcher, in my experience. Being able to transpose what you're hearing in, and by transpose, I'm not meaning exactly verbatim. Now, if there's something specific that you need to write down, definitely put something verbatim, but it doesn't have to be. So it's more of a ear to brain to hand coordination type thing. And if somebody is giving you this big old long spiel about what's going on, you have to be able to pick out the words, certain keywords, what's going on, what the person's wearing, what kind of vehicle they had, what happened, what transpired, stuff like that, and condense that into a smaller paragraph, so to speak. The if you were to do it verbatim, you might have a paragraph this long. You need to break it down to like this long, because then when the dispatcher dispatches it, if it's somebody other than you, they're going to take that this much of a paragraph and break it down into this much of a paragraph to put it out over the radio, because you want to have as little transmission over the radio to get your meaning across. So less is more, so to speak, when it comes to talking on the radio. So how do you do it? The best way to increase or better your ear to hand coordination is to practice, 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 practice. Now, you will get better at time if you just do it when you're at work, but it takes a while, and it's going to take even longer if you don't practice, because practicing for your 8-hour shift or 10-hour shift or 12-hour shift or however long you're on a shift. Yes, you get a lot, especially if you're in a bigger agency that has a lot of phone calls. But if you're somewhere that doesn't have a lot of traffic, like me, for example, it takes a while to get used to that. And you're going to struggle, especially for like the first year or so, sometimes even more. And if you're in a bigger agency, you're really going to struggle because, yes, you have more traffic to practice on, but you also have more traffic to practice on. And if you can't get it down, then you're going to be struggling even more to get your point across and get the information into the call. So, what I tell my trainees when I get them, and we are starting to take calls or starting to talk on the radio, is of course you need to practice, and not just practice here, practice at home. Now, you may ask, how do you do that? And that's a question that is asked a lot. So what I tell my trainees is to go home, get you a computer. You want to do it on a computer, especially if you work on a computer at work. If you're a very small agency that still uses like pen and paper, then do it with paper. But most agencies have some kind of CAD system or a Word document or something. Um, but you want to sit down at home in a quiet area, or in your not necessarily quiet, in your living room, and wait until after your kids have gone to bed or something like that so you can focus entirely on this. And turn on your TV and turn on your radio and try to pay attention to both of them and copy down what's going on. Every commercial that comes on, write a small paragraph about what the commercial was about and any key points that that commercial had. And at the same time, you want to have a separate document open that you can switch to do the same thing on the radio. When a song comes on, what is the song about? What's the name of it? Who's the artist? Stuff like that. They'll tell you when you're listening, right? So write that information down. That's a good way to copy names. especially titles of songs or something like that. Now, if you know the song, then you're gonna kind of cheat a little bit, but you know get that information, and then when a commercial comes onto the radio, say what that commercial is about, and go back and forth between the TV and the radio. But you have to do them together as well, because that's the way it's going to be when you're at work. You're going to be on the phone in one ear and you're going to be listening to the radio in the other, and you're going to have to be able to do both of them at the same time. Multitasking is one of the hardest things for people to get, but it's the easiest thing to do, basically. I mean, people always say that multitasking is the hardest, but it's really not, because you do it every single day. When you're driving down the road, you're driving, you're listening to music, you're talking on the phone, you're paying attention to street signs, you're paying attention to your speedometer, you're paying attention to the kids in the back, you're watching what other cars are doing. All these things you're doing at the same time. That's multitasking. When you are at home and you're watching TV and you have your kids going, you're cooking dinner, you're cleaning up, all that is multitasking. You're doing it at the same time. Now, I will say this, there is no really true multitasking in the human brain, okay? Or in anything for that matter, because you can't do everything at once. You just can't. But like a computer, you have different things that you do in order of priority. So the computer, for example, will say, okay, I'm going to type in this word, and then I'm going to take one letter from this, and then I'm going to turn up the sound volume, and then I'm going to do another letter, and then I'm going to write it to the hard drive, and then I'm going to do another letter, and I'm going to update the screen, and then do another letter, and then, it's back and forth, multi processes at once. Your brain is the same way. You're going to be watching a TV show and somebody's talking to you, where you're going to catch bits of what is said on the TV and bits of what is said from the person beside you, and your brain will automatically fill in the differences. You won't necessarily hear it, but your brain is going to fill it in, because your brain doesn't think in letters and words, it thinks in sentences. And that's one of the hardest things, really, for people to understand. But multitasking, in this sense of the word, is doing more than one thing at once. So you're going to be talking on the phone, you're going to be listening to the radio. The person on the phone will be telling you a story about what's going on, and then your officers in the background are doing a traffic stop. Well, you're going to listen to this person on the phone, and you're going to be listening to their story. Your officers are going to check out. You're going to have to write down the license plate. You're going to have to write down the location, stuff like that, of where they're at. But you also have to pay attention to what's going on the phone. Now you can tell them to, hold on one second, and then I'll be right back with you, and you can do that. But still, if something happens, you need to be able to listen to both. So, especially like on hot calls, if you're listening to the caller and it's a disturbance or something like that, a disturbance of weapons or robbery or something like that, something high priority, you're going to be listening to the caller, you're going to get that information from the caller, and you're going to put it out over the radio for your officers, just so they know what's going on. So, practicing doing this at home, practicing doing it while you're in the car. Now, you can't necessarily type, but you're going to be listening to a radio, you're going to be listening to a podcast, you're going to be listening to a whole bunch of other stuff, and you're going to be practicing this thing. And then, try to go over in your head, what was that podcast about? Or what was that song about? Or something like that. But the best way to do it, sit at home with a computer, TV, radio on, even download a scanner app. And this is something else I tell my trainees. Get on your phone and download a scanner app and listen to like one of the major cities or some police agency that's on there, and listen to them. Not only will that help you to um, figure out what you need to write down and stuff like that, but it'll also train your ear on what's being said. And you can do this while sitting and watching TV, and have your scanner app open and listen to the officers. Watch TV, and that is your caller. And write down what the commercial's about, what the product was about, price of it, or whatever he gives you. And then listen to your scanner to the officers checking out on traffic, or what's being dispatched, stuff like that, and write that down separately. because that's basically two separate calls. So, anyways, that's my best advice on multitasking and how to do it. But basically, the key thing is to practice, practice, practice. Sit down for 30 minutes a day, hour a day, whatever, after you get off of work, every day, when you're off, when you're on, doesn't matter. Sit down and practice because that's the only way you're going to get better. So, anyways, thank you very much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. I apologize for not getting videos out that I was hoping to get out. Things have been very hectic with me here, but I hope to get a whole bunch of them recorded and get some of them lined up so I can get back on the ball because I really haven't been on the ball. So. Anyways, please subscribe to the channel. If you are a communications training officer, please feel free to use any of my videos. I have license plate copy videos. I have driver's license copy videos. I'm going to be having some um, practice call taking videos that are going to be coming out. So subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click the bells as well so you get notifications when I do post a new video. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much it. Thank y'all again for watching, and until next time, y'all, have a good one and be safe out there.